Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Pips, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustler, and everybody else in between. The Friday Night Freak Show has begun, and we got a little bit of something for everybody tonight in the late night hours. Let's get started right now, because not everybody's going to be able to get in on this in-game. But we're pulling the trigger on a National Lacrosse League moneyline parlay. We're taking the Buffalo Bandits to beat the Vancouver Warriors, and we're taking the Toronto Rock to beat the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. Both big favorites. They're both minus. They're both big minus money. Like Buffalo is minus 350 against Vancouver, and the Toronto Rock are minus 450. And I'm thinking, wow, this game is not even in Toronto, and they're minus 450. They're both minus 3.5 on the spread as well. And you know what? We're going to lay the chalk actually with both. No, we can't get in the chalk right now. Like I said, you can get in on lacrosse, but sometimes there's in-game, sometimes there isn't. Let's see. It looks like there is. No, there isn't. The only in-game lacrosse we got going on now is NCAA lacrosse, Princeton and North Carolina. But for the record, we tweeted out the pick, so we're on the Buffalo Bandits to win, the Toronto Rock to win. The game is in Vancouver tonight, the Buffalo Bandits and the Vancouver Warriors. And the Vancouver Warriors are terrible. They shouldn't be called the Warriors. They shouldn't be allowed to be called the Warriors. NBA basketball. This is interesting. I tweeted it out as soon as it happened. But Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves left tonight's basketball game, not due to an injury, but due to the birth of his child. So he split at halftime. And the Sacramento Kings and the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's a close game right now. It's 95-93. I jumped in game when I saw that Edwards left. I got the Kings were up by 4 at the time. I got them at plus 1.5. They're actually currently plus 1.5 right now. Still, they're up by 2. It's 95-93. You can go either way. You can look at it one of two ways as well. You could say, well, and shout out to everybody joining us on Sirius XM channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio networks. So Anthony Edwards, birth of his child tonight, he left the basketball game as the third quarter was starting. He left. And you could say, well, this, now Minnesota's without their best player. And or you could say, well, the rest of the team is going to step up right now and say, all right, we got this, bro. Don't worry. Go to the hospital. We got this. It's all good. It's a close game. And then on top of it, as our main man, Tommy Reynolds and Master Control knows, who happens to be a Sacramento King fan, man, it doesn't matter if Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Anthony Edwards all went to the hospital at the same time. It's still going to be a close game in the last couple of seconds, all right? So it's one of those, oh, man, this seems like a good spot to jump in. Then I was like, yeah, but, it is the Sacramento Kings. And the Kings aren't terrible or anything, but I seem to be on the wrong side of a lot of King outcomes, all right? It just is what it is. We have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls. Say, what? What's up? What time is it? What time is it anyways? We got a late start tonight in Chicago. For them, though, I guess it's 9 o'clock. It's going to be like a 9 o'clock start. They've been doing this on Friday nights with these double headers. I don't have a problem with it because I'm not there. I'm not the one that's going to get shanked on the way home at 2 in the morning after the game. Oh, kidding aside. Just kidding. Like Don Rickles. Just kidding, everybody. Hey, don't steal my hubcaps. Milwaukee Bucks, minus 170 on the money line. Minus 3.5 against the Bulls. I took the Bulls the other night against the Cleveland Cavaliers plus the points, but I think the Bucks start to get on track. They were struggling, obviously, going into the All-Star break since Doc Rivers has taken over, but I think Milwaukee gets it done here this evening. I don't really know if I want to lay the 3.5. You can play the money line. Let's see if I can get better than 170 right now with the pregame. Yeah, 160. It's 170 in-game, and it hasn't even tipped off yet. You always got to double check that stuff. So I'll go 160 on the Milwaukee Bucks here tonight. Let's go money line Milwaukee Bucks against the Chicago Bulls. We have the Wizards and the Clippers coming up, but does anybody care? All right, so the Bucks minus 1. Well, I say that, and I took the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and they covered. The Hornets have been covering a lot of games actually recently. Bovey talked about it the other night about jumping in at halftime with them. I think they're now. I think they're 6-1 now in their last 7 games against the spread. It might be like, 7. It's if you get deeper and stuff. I think they're on like a 10-3 run. Like the Charlotte Hornets have been covering numbers. Like how the hell were Philadelphia laying that big of a number, without Joel Embiid? All right, so we just pulled the trigger on the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line. College basketball, we're on Dayton. Dayton, Loyola, Chicago. That's the game of the night going on right now. It's 35-32 right now for Dayton at the half. In-game total is 141.5 right now. Of course, Dayton do not play it at quick tempo at all. Everybody loved the under of this game. I don't bet unders. I always lose. It was like 138.5, so it's sort of on pace right now. Anytime everybody thinks it's going to be super low scoring, it's high scoring. Every time it's going to be a track meet, it isn't. Seems that's the way things work out in college basketball. But we are on Dayton here, and it's kind of, they're minus 170 on the money line. They're minus 140, minus 1.5 as far as the number is concerned. NHL hockey, we've got one game coming up tonight with the Devils and the Ducks. Double D action here this evening. I can't pretend that I have a ton of interest in this hockey game. Even from a betting perspective, I guess the Devils are the play. I mean, they should win, could win, but whatever. I mean, the New Jersey Devils should be minus 290. All right? Like against anything, anyone, any team. So I'm going to pass on the Devils and the Ducks. We've got action in on the Milwaukee Bucks. We've got action in on Dayton. We've got action on the National Lacrosse League. Right? So I'm pretty good here right now. And it's also countdown to the start of the Formula One season. Let's rock. I'm ready to roll. I busted out the Red Bull jersey tonight as Max Verstappen and company are back for more. I like it. Very short off season in Formula One. Quick turnaround. We're back right now. This race is at 9:55 East Coast time in the morning. So it's perfect for those of you on the East Coast. For those of us on the West Coast that are Formula One fans, it's brutal. It's 6:55, but the only thing I'm drinking tonight are Pepsis. So I'm not going to be on some sort of late night bender going to bed at 6 a.m. or anything like that tonight. And it's the first race of the season, so I will wake up. I say wake up. I only go to bed at like 4 o'clock usually at the best of times. So, right. But with that being stated, it's the first race of the season. So I'm fired up. I want to see it. I want to see the new teams, how it plays out. And there's a lot of drama all the time with Formula One. There's a lot of stuff going on. Of course, there was a big investigation with Christian Horner. And who's shocked that a dude with his last name Horner got called out for sending inappropriate text messages potentially. Married to one of the Spice Girls as well. Tabloids are going crazy in England right now, but that won't stop Max Verstappen from dominating once again. So we got a little bit of something for everybody. We're going to step into the paddock in a pit tonight. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's rare in this day and age of the NBA to, miss one player and have the wheels fall off.
They're kind of hanging on to one of those final play-in tournament positions in the Eastern Conference. And there are teams like the Nets and the Bulls and the Raptors who are right in that same vicinity, who now they're looking and saying, well, if the Hawks are without a player like Trae Young, and we talk about how important he is, averaging over 26 points.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Just watched the final seconds of Illinois and Penn State, and by Dave's reaction, you think you know what happened there. How about that, Dave? How about that?
We're off the rundown. Sorry. Storm the court. You beat the 12th team in the country. That's fine. Second best in the Big Ten. That's fine. We are Penn State. Look at the crew jumping. This is so much fun.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Thank you, I appreciate this. You want one of these?
I'm good, KG.
You want your ginger shot?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I need some positivity today. I'm trying to cover this spread, and your vibe is off, G.
What's wrong with my vibe?
You got to get you one of these, G. Get to sip some of this positivity in your life, and boom! You see that? Spread's covered. Thank you, Mama. In a minute, G. Ha ha!
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. So Anthony Edwards left the Timberwolves game at the half to be present for the birth of his first child. And I remember, like, in the old days, like, you couldn't miss, like, like, it would be, like, unheard of to miss anything for, you know what I mean? Nowadays, in the modern era, this has become a new one. And I used to kid before about, if you're not there for the birth of the kid, and you basically tell the kid, yeah, I wasn't there when you were born, but the reason that you grew up as a spoiled rich kid is because I was out there making $40 million and I had to work, and that's why you have the life you do right now.
Exactly. You get
and I used to also be a jerk cam and say, that's what video cameras are for. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it's a regular season NBA game, and
Right.
I gave him credit. I'm going to know where I'm going with this is, though. I gave him credit for actually saying, I'll stay as long as I can. Like, he didn't say, I can't play tonight. I'm not, you know what I mean? He said, no, I'll show up, and if I get the call, I'm leaving. That's fair.
First kid,
So,
too?
props
Kid
to him.
number one?
Congratulations to his family.
Was that his first kid?
I don't know. It is his first kid. Yeah, it is.
Okay, and that's even better. Yeah, after the
I don't
first
know,
one.
Kim. He's an
maybe it's
NBA
kinda
player. Like, is it his first kid?
I don't know. I don't know what Anthony Edwards is up to.
I don't like it. I don't.
Hey, what's up with that? Okay, yeah. Anyway,
Even my father did that to me once. I was standing with my father once, and somebody said to me, they said, Morency, are you an only child? And I said, yeah. And my father goes, yeah, that he knows of.
That he knows. What a line by
And
your
he goes,
dad.
then he looked at me, he goes, you might have a lot of brothers and sisters around the world, and I didn't tell you. I was like, so I kind of looked at him like, what else are you not telling me here?
Oh, your dad. That's
I
great
think, yeah,
line.
I'm telling you, I guarantee you, I have a brother or sister in Tanzania. Like, I guarantee you, there's someone running around out there in Tanzania that I'm related to right now. Let's bring in first. What are you doing with the Ducks? The Ducks and the Devils, a game that I decided to pass on because I'm a professional.
I got good news and bad news. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm on the Devils. Ducks just scored. But I do have Frank Vetrano scoring a goal because he's my favorite player.
Did he score?
He just scored for the Ducks, yes. And we were just talking to Jack about it, how the Rangers are trying to pick up Frank Vetrano. And his trade stock is just growing. His 28th goal of the year with the Ducks. Frankie V, great player. Yeah, I'm on the Devils.
I don't know if he's available. Is he available?
He'll be available for the right price.
Let's bring in Steve Merrill right now. We've got a late night NBA game, Steve. Yeah, I can't bet on everything, Steve. I'm passing on the Ducks and Devils. Like, this is just a train wreck of a game.
I got a great tennis match.
And for the record, too, the Devils were minus 290, Cam. The Devils shouldn't be minus 290 against a junior hockey team, a junior B team.
No, I know. I have them in a parlay. I didn't lay 290. I'm not insane, but I do have them first period, which is basically going to be toast now because since the Ducks scored the first goal. But I also have a tennis match that's coming up, too. The Battle of the Norwegian Fjords, Rune versus Ruud. I got over 23 and Rune plus 132. Great match. These guys, every time they play, it goes the distance.
Yeah, I heard you on with Matt Peralt and Adam Kaufman on earlier, and
thanks.
Matt Peralt, it's like, come on, Matt, like he doesn't know who Casper Ruud and Ruud is.
That's why I go. These guys are
they're both top 5 players in the world. They're literally they're not even like. That's like saying I never heard of John Rahm. I don't know who that is.
You heard that?
It's like, I don't know. You don't have to be a fan here. Like, he's literally, they're really ranked like 4th and 6th in the world type stuff. Like,
Thank you.
4 or 5. Like, you know what I mean?
These guys are talking like I'm giving them like a teenage tournament or something.
It's like, you better not. They're like, who? Casper Ruud, huh? They could, Casper Ruud. Yeah, you mean the future of golf, these guys?
Yeah.
And the future of tennis? And speaking of, we'll bring Merrill in 1 second. Just one thing. Hopefully, Cam, you didn't have any money on Thomas Dietrich today because he pulled a 6-putt. That was crazy, bro.
Oh, dude, actually,
he looked like a dude that was just like a weekend duffer and is mad. Like it's like, bro, you're a pro. Like, you got to stop for a second. He just casually kept on like it didn't matter. He was like, tuck, it didn't go in. Tuck, he hit it back. Tuck, he hit it again. Bam, he hit it past. Like whoever he was playing with, like, was standing there in shock. It's like, dude, you're destroying your entire weekend in the last 10 seconds with your little stupid.
Just a quick
I can't imagine.
He finished last week, and he absolutely had a mind meltdown today. Like, he's playing like he used to be a really good golfer. He's had 2 really bad weeks, so he
needs to readjust.
And Brady Cannon, shout out to him. Gabe, remember he said I'm fading Dietrich because he's he's not going to be able to handle these wins. Great call. So we already won that matchup bet with Horschel over Dietrich by a mile.
It's not bad. When a guy's 6 putts, you're going to win. Steve Merrill steps up. What's up, Steve?
Was an easy
I don't follow golf. I was like, let's fade him next week too, man. You talk about a falling knife. I misunderstood. I thought you meant he took a 6, and then I realized you said he took 6 putts. That's insane. That's like a mental breakdown on the green.
For a PG, for a pro. Yeah, for a pro. Like, it wasn't Steve like, he was far. It was like, everyone was missing putts. And, it's not like, some of the greens, it rolls into the water. It's tricky. Watch out. It's like, no. Like, he literally just pulled, like, your buddies type stuff after beers. Like, he missed, like, a 4-footer pretty hard, Cam, right? Like, it's like, whoa, dude, you're like, whoa, you hit it right past the hole. Then he sort of got serious and he hit it past the other side. Then he tried to just sort of tip it in angrily like it was 2 feet away. He was like, and he missed again. And it was like, but Cam, at that point, that's when the caddy's got to step up and say, yo.
You know what the thing is, though,
Gabe? Stop for a second. It
doesn't matter. He was not.
He was done. Yeah, he was done.
10. That's the thing. The one thing is he doesn't care.
Yeah, but you don't want people like me talking about it, and you don't want the highlights everywhere. You know what I mean?
Good point. He's on like the missed.
Fade him, Cam. How did we not fade him until he cashes? I mean, you probably won another 3-4 weeks in a row.
Brady talked about it, Steve, on Gabe's show, and I listened because we had a matchup bet with Bazoutenhout versus him and Horschel versus him. I did both. I'm not going to say I'm going perfect. I had Eric Cole, and he had the worst tournament of his life. He didn't make the cut, but yes, if Dietrich plays next week, I would fade him again. This guy's in a real, bad headspace.
Yeah, I
He used
agree.
to be a winner on the European tour as well. He's a very good golfer. Like I'll check his world ranking. I bet it's like number 40. Like he's not a bad golfer.
No, he's good. Yeah, it goes to show though. Golf, Steve. I always say it, man. Golf. Obviously, I'm not a golfer, but I played golf. But I know it's like baseball, like being a hitter in baseball.
Oh, yeah,
it's like betting.
Any sport. Yeah,
it's like
probably the most
you could be as good as you could be on top of the world at it, and you could suck at it and just lose it like right away, and do the same thing. You know what I mean? You'd be like, dude, swinging the bat the same way, swing the golf club the same way. Like I've always thought that, like betting in baseball, like like baseball, man. The guys show up. They're like, I don't know. I'm scared of going 0 for 4. I could go 0 for 4 today.
Right.
Like they know that.
Another angle that's really important, Steve, and me and Gabe, and like we're older guys and we should know this stuff. So everyone's like, oh, Jake Knapp, he won last week, but he's a young guy. It's like, no, you don't fade him the next week. They're like, oh, he's going to go party with his girlfriend from Ottawa. The guy's in third place again, Gabe. He's 8 under. He's 3 off the lead. Because once you get a taste for money when you're broke, you want another taste of money, and you want he made like his career earnings in a weekend. Now he's like, oh my God. If I have like 3 or 4 good weeks, I could rack up $6 million and set himself up. Like, you know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Like these guys are different athletes now. They don't go, yay, we're going to like be crap to bed next week. You ride it out. Like guys can win multiple tournaments and do top 10s and stuff. Something I got to remember.
Dayton and Loyola Chicago tied at 35 right now. Who'd you like, Steve? I'm on Dayton in this game.
Nothing on that game for me tonight, but I do think Dayton's always one of the strongest home courts, so this is something we keep an eye on this time of year. When they're on the road, though, they're playing well still, but Dayton's a home play for me normally.
They have lost their last 2 conference road games.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's rare in this day and age of the NBA to, miss one player and have the wheels fall off.
They're kind of hanging on to one of those final play-in tournament positions in the Eastern Conference. And there are teams like the Nets and the Bulls and the Raptors who are right in that same vicinity, who now they're looking and saying, well, if the Hawks are without a player like Trae Young, and we talk about how important he is, averaging over 26 points.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watched the final seconds of Illinois and Penn State, and by Dave's reaction, you think you know what happened there. How about that, Dave? How about that?
We're off the rundown. Sorry, storm the court. You beat the 12th team in the country. That's fine. Second best in the Big Ten. That's fine. We are Penn State. Look at the crew jumping. This is so much fun.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The Pips, the Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Sacramento and Minnesota are tied 115-115 because, of course, they are. And I told you guys earlier, it really is amazing with the Kings. It doesn't matter. Like, every game. And, in fact, I don't do basketball teasers, and I don't really recommend basketball teasers. But if there's one team that I think you could just tease every game, whoever the underdog is, just tease it, is the Sacramento Kings. Like, every one of their damn games. They play a bad team, it's close. They play a good team, it's close. Like, they're at home, it's close. On the road, it's close. This team plays a lot of close games. 115 right now. The T-Wolves have the ball and have called a timeout. The Milwaukee Bucks, Steve, and the Chicago Bulls in action here. I'm on the Milwaukee Bucks in this game. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I did the NBA tip-off show earlier today with Ranieri and Teddy Covers, and that was the contrarian play of the day with Chicago, and I actually went against the contrarian play. I leaned towards Milwaukee. Bucks are perfect since the All-Star break. You just got to wonder, are they finally finding that groove? Teddy Covers actually went contrarian. He took the Bulls. But, yeah, I leaned Bucks minus the 4.5. It actually closed minus 4, even 3.5, came back down a little bit, but looks like Milwaukee finally has some momentum, and the Bulls have just been awful offensively the last two games. They've shot like 41 and 39% from the field, so that concerns you as well with Chicago.
I was on the Bulls in their last game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they pulled it out. They won outright, actually, as 5.5-point underdogs. The Bulls have been competitive at home, right? They're one of those, whatever. They're like a play-in caliber type of team. People have sort of forgotten about them and written them off, but they're not easy to deal with, Cam. They do have scores on their team, but this is a big rivalry, and Milwaukee just own their asses. Mm-hmm. And as Steve stated, too, Milwaukee were 3-7 under Doc Rivers going into the All-Star break. Coming out of the break, you knew they were going to dial it up, and it's really Damian Lillard. Lillard really wasn't playing well. They're not a great defensive team, but they're tightening things up a little bit right now. I'm on the Bucks here. I don't know if you bet this game, 21-14 for the Bucks right now.
Yeah, I didn't go contrarian either. So 3's a crowd. I'm on Milwaukee. I love the spot. Steve, you guys said it. This team's hot right now, and I'll take them. And it seemed like a really short price. And no, I'm not just going to blindly bet underdogs. I do take a lot of dogs, but I'm on the Milwaukee tonight with you guys.
Hey, Gabe, how about this? Only one of their last 14 games have gone over the total. How crazy is that? They have a push and an over and 12 unders, including 8 straight. You talked about them playing better defense, though. Well, the thing is, the 4 games since the All-Star break, 44% or better defensively, all 4 games.
So the Wizards and Clippers, this is sort of one of those. I'm never a fan of these big 15-point spread games. If I would, well, I say that. I took Charlotte tonight plus 12 against Philadelphia. But this is a little bit different. The Wizards played last night. But actually, to be honest with you, the number seems high. Yeah, the Wizards played last night, but it was in the same building. They stay across the street in the hotel. So it's not. And also the Wizards are a bunch of young kids on the team. So I don't really think, I don't make too much of this. And the Clippers are an older team. Are the Clippers really going to be interested in smoking them by 28? What do you think of this one, Steve? I haven't bet it, but I'm almost talking myself into the Wizards.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we got about 10 minutes till tip-off. My free play of the night at wagertalk.com is the Wizards. People can go check that out right now. It's on the page. Nice. And the reason I used the Wizards last night as my free play at wagertalk.com. And like the spot last night, I was actually kicking myself for not making it an official best bet as my last cut. I just don't like playing really bad teams on 12-game losing streaks, but it was such a terrible spot for the Lakers last night. They were coming off the 21-point comeback win against these Clippers a couple nights ago. And then they have the Nuggets on deck tomorrow night, and LeBron's looking to go over 40,000 points, most likely on national TV tomorrow. So it was a terrible spot for the Lakers. what concerns me tonight is the Clippers are off back-to-back losses, but I still lean towards the Wizards here. It is my free play of the night. And this isn't a play on the Wizards. It's a play against the Clippers. I'm starting to think that maybe the Harden factor is kicking in. You know, they had that nice little run for a couple months with James Harden. They've only covered one of their last 8 games. They're 1-7 against the number of the last 8. They've lost 4 of their last 6 outright. And even their recent wins have all been by single digits except for one that was by 11. All the other ones have been 6 5-point wins. And they're 1-5 against the number this big of a favorite the last several seasons. So I'll take a shot again with the Wizards tonight. And like you said, it's not really a no-rest situation because they're in the same damn arena as last night.
We should note, though, you know, they're a different team without Paul George. So, and Paul George is back tonight, which kind of surprises me a little bit. It's like, why bring him back now against Washington? Just let him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I'd wait one more
Zubac
game.
and George would be out. Yeah, if in fact, if you look at my write-up I put up about 10 hours ago on Wager Talk, it says might also be missing 2 starters, George and Zubac. So I'm agreeing with you, Gabe. I'm a little surprised he's playing tonight. We'll see how much he plays.
Zubac is out, but exactly. That's like it's the Wizards. You guys are going to win. You're looking at the big picture for the Clippers. Like I said, I'm surprised as well, but he's in the starting lineup. Clippers starting lineup tonight. Harden, Mann, George, Kawhi Leonard, and Thies. The Wizards, Jones, Shamet, Avdija, Kyle Kuzma, and Bagley. And, of course, Jordan Poole now comes off the bench.
He's been great off the bench. He's like scoring over 20 a game the last several games off the bench for what it's worth. I mean, they're a terrible defensive team. I mean, it's like I said, I don't like the Wizards. They've given up 50% or more in 6 straight games. I mean, they're really bad. It's not a surprise.
They play street ball. They're like a pickup street ball team. Like they'll dunk it. They can score a bit. They have some talent, some flash. But like you said,
they should have beat the Lakers, Gabe.
They get lit up on the defensive end, right?
They do.
They
had control of that game late, man. They just screwed it up. Imagine you had them on the money line. They were there, and you said it. Their defense is deplorable. It's very bad.
The thing with the Wizards is their timing is bad in that they're trying to tank, like point blank. Like the Wizards, so I'll give them credit. They've identified, you know what, being mediocre sucked. So what? Let's just go all out and be terrible. Yet it's a terrible draft class. Like there's no real savior in college basketball this year. There's a couple of good dudes, but there's no like, oh my God, you know what I mean? This draft class is so amazing and stuff. So they're picking a bad little mini time to tank. You know, like I don't know, like they're gonna get a good player, I guess, with their pick, but not a savior. But I tell you, that point spread is super high. So if you want to roll the dice, like Steve, it's we're getting 15.5 right now with the Wizards. The total is 240.5. So college basketball on Saturday. Saturday's always a big time. We got 5 top 25 matchups tomorrow. Looking at the teams in action, let's take a look at the Houston Cougars, actually. Houston at Oklahoma. What do you think of that one, Steve?
Yeah, so I did my top 25 video a few hours ago. It's live right now on Wager Talk TV. As you said, there's 5 head-to-head matchups. I also did a couple bonus games, which we have top 30 teams playing each other. The Houston-Oklahoma matchup is actually not one of the 7 I broke down, but Houston is.
You know, we'll get Steve's connection back up here.
Yep.
Yeah, the Houston Cougars are at Norman against the Oklahoma Sooners, and they're laying points here. I think Houston are ready to start dialing things up a little bit here. It's the calm before the storm. I don't really like betting on road teams in college basketball, but they're just so much better than Oklahoma. So I do think that Houston are the play in this game. Right now, Dayton are up a 5 spot on Loyola Chicago, which is good. We talked about that total being a little light. In-game total is 150.5 right now. What's the foul situation like here? Low fouls. Both teams have 3 fouls right now. So other big college, looking at the slate tomorrow, there's a couple of interesting games, some cool ones. Tennessee, so starting at the top here, the Purdue Boilermakers play against Michigan State. UConn gets Seton Hall on Sunday. The Houston Cougars take on the Oklahoma Sooners, which right now it's 6.5. I think it's come down just a little bit. So like I said, it's a little bit pricey. That total at 128.5 feels light. I think we can get there. Tennessee and Alabama in action. Marquette and Creighton. This is a game that I'm intrigued by, but really the game of the night tomorrow night, and I got a best bet for a little bit later on in our best bet portion. For the record here, too, I do like Creighton on their home court, but the nightcap tomorrow night with St. Mary's and Gonzaga. So we told you guys last night we thought that Gonzaga would light up San Francisco. They ended up killing them and murdering them. It was a step up in class for the Dons that was too much for them. Now, and I think we got Steve back. Steve, on Saturday night, St. Mary's have an opportunity to go 16-0 in conference play, completely run the table, but they have Gonzaga in their way. And even though St. Mary's have already wrapped up the conference and they're going to win the conference, they know this. It's massive for them to actually. It's only happened like 3 other times before, and it was Gonzaga that pulled it off. Like, this would be a massive accomplishment in a very difficult West Coast conference for St. Mary's to run the table, Steve, and go 16-0, and I think they can. I was on Gonzaga last night against the Dons, but I think that the Gales get it done tomorrow night.
Yeah, I touched on this video, my top 25 video, Wager Talk TV. In fact, back on February 3rd, they first met several Saturdays ago. I talked about that, and I was saying how the slow-down half-court style of St. Mary's can frustrate an up-tempo team like Gonzaga, but Gonzaga, for the most part, has held up well against St. Mary's. They're just not as strong this year. St. Mary's went in there and won 64-62 a month ago. Now they're at home, final home game of the season. I think they get them again. They're a slow-down half-court, strong home court team. I'm not looking to fade them in their finale.
Well, you could really argue that you're getting sort of value with St. Mary's at this price, that they should be bigger favorites when you consider how dominant they've been this year. So to get them at 2.5 / minus 140 on the money line, good play in my opinion.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's rare in this day and age of the NBA to, miss one player and have the wheels fall off.
They're kind of hanging on to one of those final play-in tournament positions in the Eastern Conference. And there are teams like the Nets and the Bulls and the Raptors who are right in that same vicinity, who now they're looking and saying, well, if the Hawks are without a player like Trae Young, and we talk about how important he is, averaging over 26 points.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watched the final seconds of Illinois and Penn State, and by Dave's reaction, you think you know what happened there. How about that, Dave? How about that?
We're off the rundown. Sorry. Storm the court. You beat the 12th team in the country. That's fine. Second best in the Big Ten. That's fine. We are Penn State. Look at the crew jumping. This is so much fun.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Let's do this in a Friday Night Freak Show. Continues as the F1 season set to continue and begin. In the morning, 9:55 East Coast time, 6:55 in the morning from Bahrain. And we've got all kinds of picks for you. And in fact, we've got 5 different picks, exactas, tricast, trifectas, winning margins, and everything else in between. We're excited for the start of a new season. And NASCAR's in Las Vegas this week. And Steve, you've been to the race in Vegas before. And the NASCAR season's off and running right now. It's motorsport season. We're ready to rock.
Yeah, I went in February of 2008, and I have not been back since. It's like a 45-minute bus trip to the middle of the desert from the Strip. I get there,
it's a living hell.
Guys,
people complain about F1. Yeah, at least it's on the Strip.
That's a good point. You go by the Air Force Base, and then we get to the track. And if there's ever a track you think that would allow you to take alcohol, and it'd be right outside of Las Vegas, and there's thousands of unopened beers at the entrance because you couldn't bring alcohol, you couldn't bring drinks into the track. It's the most bizarre. I'll still never forget. Cam, you would have died on the spot.
You should have showed up, Cam, with a shopping cart, just hauling it all the way.
I'm telling you, man, there were cases stacked of unopened cases of beer. You couldn't bring them in.
Throw them in my cart and a funnel.
Smart alcoholic hobos in Las Vegas. No, we got to go to the NASCAR track. It's a free for all. Just walking away with stuff.
Shopping carts full of liquor. That sounds amazing.
As they tell you, you can drink it, dump it, or leave it right here, right? You're like, oh.
Yeah.
The ironic thing, Gabe, if there was ever a track you needed a case of beer, it was that one. It was just a boring mile-and-a-half cookie-cutter track. Carl Edwards won back in 08, I remember.
Carl Edwards.
Yeah.
Blast from the
past. It's the worst leaving after, too, eh? There's one road out.
Oh, yeah. We were like, we're like crashed into a shuttle. I think I was standing for 45 minutes holding the rail. I mean, it was awful. Yeah, it was not a fun experience.
It's on the Air Force, Nellis Air Force Base. Look at this, though. I figured motorsport season. I was in a store. It'll be a nice addition. I'll put this up. Now there's motor season here.
Nice.
I like it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks retro, but it's new. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You got the Corvette,
it's like something you'd see in an old garage there. It actually doesn't look new.
Yeah.
Very retro. Very retro.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like pretending to be retro, Cam. But that's cool. You know what I'm saying?
It looks all right. Yeah, that's nice.
It won't rust on you. It's light and it's friendly. It won't rust on you. It looks retro, but it'll hold up.
Yeah, it's going to be summertime motorsport. Get a little Chevy action up here, some F1 stuff. Yeah, we're ready to rock.
Go
all right, so
speaking of the winter.
I know. Speaking of which, or throw it at someone. Hit someone over the head.
Captain America.
All right, Steve. So we got Lou coming up here on the way out. What do you think of Air Force and Utah State? Utah State are laying 17, and Fresno and Nevada are just getting going right now. And in fact, they played 2.5 minutes and it's still scoreless. No one scored.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I always love these altitude home courts, So Fresno will be at a disadvantage at Nevada. So maybe a second half play if you're looking at Nevada, depending on how the first half plays out. We'll keep an eye on that. Nevada won by 15 earlier this year at Fresno. Air Force has just gotten blown out numerous times this year, and I know they're used to the thin air and altitude, but Utah State, 12-1 at home, beat them by 28 points in early January on the road. It'd be a Utah State or pass for me. Air Force lives by the 3, as you guys know. Utah State has one of the best three-point defenses in the country, allowing 27%. Just a bad matchup for the Falcons.
Steve Merrill, always good, Steve. Actually, last one. What do you think of Virginia and North Carolina?
I'm off Virginia, man. Had them a couple weeks ago when they failed to cover by 1. They awake to 47 points, went 1 for 11 from the line. And then last week, I thought they'd slow down North Carolina. I went 3-1 on my other plays last Saturday, but Virginia's just been biting me. Really bad offensive team. And I'll tell you, I don't like taking bad offensive teams in basketball, man. It's painful.
It is.
Really
I'm always a sucker for Virginia, but I lost that game too.
I'm
There
big
was
on
one-
Bennett.
was
I
it the
love
Wake
the
Forest?
half-court style, man, but it's just they're terrible. They're worse than normal offensively this year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I know. They're not as good as their record because you look at them, you're like, oh, they're 20-6 or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah, and
not
their
really
luck
that good.
index, Gabe, is very high in the KenPom, so it's interesting that you say that because their luck index is very high, which means their record should be worse.
You're right. You just tell by the eyeball. You're like, this team isn't as good as their record is. Like when you look at them. Thanks, Steve. Always good, man.
Thanks, boys.
Yep,
right there's Steve Merrill with us. I don't know if Lou Gamblu is ready to go. I know Lou is in the bullpen.
Yeah,
and I don't. Yeah, Lou is ready to go. We just got to get him lined up, and we'll get into a UFC fight night. The Wizards and the Clippers have started, and I couldn't help myself. I ended up pulling the trigger on the Washington Wizards. We talked ourselves into it and taking the 15.5 points and just hoping that lose by 14 or something. All right.
Yep,
they're up 10-8 early. Did you jump in? You're going to get in on the Wizards here?
I was on the Wizards against the Lakers last night, Gabe, and I thought I was going to clip that money line, too. I was very upset when they blew that lead, and then in overtime they had another lead, and the Lakers only ended up winning by 3. I think it's too many points, buddy. I'm with you. I know the Wizards reek. It's a back-to-back young team. I'll take them with you. Let's go. Lose by 8-10. Let's hope it's not even close, buddy. Let's get it covered.
Sacramento is winning 123-120 with 16 seconds left in overtime. Minnesota's called timeout again, and they got the ball. But Sacktown are battling. They're up a 3 spot. Milwaukee are winning 33-24 over the Bulls right now. All right, Can we get figured Lou out right here? Behind the scenes, I can hear Lou melting down in our green room.
Yeah,
dropping F-bombs actually. So you better make sure that Lou's muted.
Yes.
I hear. I'm like, oh boy. It's like,
I know. Yes, Gabe. I was like, Lou sounds like me. He's frustrated. He's trying to get my bets in.
Yeah, we'll go. Tommy's on top of it. We'll get this. We'll get this. We'll get it sorted out. So it's 7 seconds left right now. Sacramento have the ball. Looks like we might be able to finish this off and get Sacktown home. They're going to the free throw line with 7 seconds left and a 3-point lead. The Bulls are making a game of it, though. The Bulls are down 7 to the Bucks. All right. Lou Gamblu, he's ready to go. Lou, good to see you tonight. How you doing, Lou?
I'm tickled to be here, guys. Thanks for the flexibility of working around my Las Vegas schedule. I'm tickled to share some insight with the two of you.
Yeah, so you're still in Las Vegas. I don't know. You're all over the place, Lou. So I had a hard time keeping up, but I knew because Brady Cannon was with us. I guess last night, and he said how he was hooking up with you, and you guys were going out to dinner on Thursday night. But I didn't know if you were staying in Vegas, so you're still in Vegas right now.
Yeah, I just got in Thursday afternoon. Saw Brady and couple handfuls of guys. I had a little pizza wing joint. We commiserated a little bit, and I'm here until Monday morning. I'll take the drive early Monday morning back because my dogs can't do without me.
Are you going to the fight tomorrow? Are you going to go to the Apex? Is that why you're there?
No, I'm here actually because I was supposed to be here originally in January and I got sick. And I like to get here 5 times a year if I can. And so I owed myself a trip. I come primarily, Gabe, to network, meet a bunch of guys, try and get on, the set today of Sports by the Book that's here in the South Point where I'm currently holed up speaking with you guys. And,
nice set over there. I saw a picture tonight, actually. Nice place. Yeah.
Yeah, nice spot.
Yeah, networking and R&R.
All right, so I know we're on the clock here, Lou. What do this card? This is the one that was supposed to be in Saudi Arabia. They moved it here. There's been a lot of shuffling and a lot of cancellations on this card, but it doesn't mean that there's not a lot of opportunities as well. But I'm glad that you're here to help us out. But let's start off with the main event here with Rosenstruck. What do you think of this fight? Rosenstruck's a plus 140 underdog, sort of, a gatekeeper type of fighter here right now. Either way, there's going to be fireworks. This fight shouldn't last very long, but do you like the favorite or the underdog here?
I lean to the favorite here, Gabriel, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Rosenstreich is really he's a gatekeeper and a great barometer. Every time he's fought an elite heavyweight, he hasn't gotten the job done. That said, every heavyweight that isn't elite, he's been able to get by. He's been in with better competition, clearly. He just hasn't been able to do well against him. Meanwhile, he takes on this young man, Gaziev, Dagestani, so we know he's a vice grip wrestler, but this kid also has hands. He's much larger than Rosenstreich physically. And in this fight, I lean to Gaziev because he's the more well-rounded fighter. Now, Rosenstreich showed up, looked great on the scale. He's lost a few pounds since his last fight. He hasn't fought in 10 months. And in those 10 months, he's claimed to have been working on his grappling and his wrestling. But as you and I know, as well as Cam, you don't acquire wrestling chops in 10 months. And Gaziev, I think, is the rightful favorite.
Yeah, the best ever was, I remember when my boy Heath Herring fought Brock Lesnar.
The kid being punched.
Yeah. And in camp, they told Heath, they said, listen, we're really going to have to work on your wrestling. And Heath had the best line. He said, do you guys really think that me wrestling in camp for 6 weeks is going to help me against Brock Lesnar?
It's such a great line.
It's a little late for this. Like, so I got your point, Lou and Rooster. It's like, okay, bro, like, have fun. At this point, you shouldn't even waste your time doing it, all right? At that point, Rooster, just stick with what you're doing. Don't even. But I love Heath. They looked at him all weird. He goes, yeah. He goes, oh, yeah. And he told me, he goes, oh, that's going to help Gabe. I'm one the wrestler's going to help me. Right? Like, he sort of laughed at it. But
at least he was realistic about it.
He basically said, he goes, no, I'm going to try to punch him in the face. And he even said, he goes, if I don't punch him in the face, I'm in a lot of trouble. He knew. He goes, I'm going to try to punch him in the face. If I can't, I'm in a lot of trouble here. And he got caught off by Brock punching him first. He was that's the thing. You know what I mean, Lou? He was so about the takedown, Brock just came out and punched him. And it's funny. You remember the first time Brock Lesnar lost to Frank Mir, okay? They told him so much about Frank Mir and ankle locks and arm bars and stuff that he trained so much. He said, I trained so much, I walked right into it because I did it 150 times in a month. And he goes, then in a fight, I did it. He goes, I would have been better off never doing it. So I don't want to get whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. But so you like the favorite in this fight. We have a big favorite in the co-main event here with Petrino and Pedro, minus 334 and plus 250. Makayev and Perez in action. You're always looking for the live dogs, Lou. Are there any live dogs on this card, in your opinion?
Live remains to be seen, but let me tell you how I'm addressing this card. 11 fights, 8 of them lined minus 200 with the favorite, and in each case, those favorites have almost doubled. There's only 1 or 2 fights where the favorite's grown in a modest sense. And so we understand that so far this year in the UFC, favorites are 65%, but more importantly, Gabriel, in the last 2 weeks, favorites 20-4. And the UFC
Sorry,
market,
Lou, let me just, we got a break coming up. Let me just, 65%, that's a little lower than normal, isn't it, of past years?
No, they run 64% either side. A couple years ago, we were 67%.
Really? So that's sort of the steady barometer, huh? I mean, in the mid-60s there. Fascinating. All right, well, we'll hit this more on the other side with Lou. Yeah, it's a chalky card, and it feels like the favorites are going to win.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's rare in this day and age of the NBA to, miss one player and have the wheels fall off.
They're kind of hanging on to one of those final play-in tournament positions in the Eastern Conference. And there are teams like the Nets and the Bulls and the Raptors who are right in that same vicinity, who now they're looking and saying, well, if the Hawks are without a player like Trae Young, and we talk about how important he is, averaging over 26 points.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watched the final seconds of Illinois and Penn State, and by Dave's reaction, you think you know what happened there. How about that, Dave? How about that?
We're off the rundown. Sorry, storm the court. You beat the 12th team in the country. That's fine. Second best in the Big Ten. That's fine. We are Penn State. Look at the crew jumping. This is so much fun.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Well, the underdogs are barking tonight in the National Lacrosse League as the Vancouver Warriors are terrible, all right? They're 2-8 on the season. They get murdered all the time. They're playing against the Buffalo Bandits tonight in Vancouver, and it's 8-4 for the Warriors right now. They're leading the Bandits 8-4. Make it 9-4. They just scored again.
I was watching that for a bit, Gabe. It looked wicked, man. They have that game here on TSN. I was just like, man, this looks like fun. Go down to a Vancouver game. I love the lacrosse league. It's a party, man.
Yeah, I've never been to a Vancouver Warrior game. They seem to play when I'm on the air a lot, but I like to get out there. But look at their jerseys. If you put it on now, look at their jerseys. Like I said, I don't know why they look like the Vegas Golden Knights too much. They should look like the Canucks. You're not owned by the Vegas Golden Knights. You're owned by the Canucks.
Right. Get the Canucks colors. Yeah, I couldn't agree with more. That's stupid.
Make like a cool native Canuck style thing for lacrosse. I'm saying you have the same owner. The Vancouver Canucks, Lou, have the coolest jerseys in the NHL. They have a million of them, right?
That's a great point.
There's the same owner. So, use some of your creativity and make a cool jersey, and maybe your team will get better.
People don't know, too. Vancouver, BC area with the native groups, that lacrosse is a big, big thing there, man. Six Nations and all the other teams and stuff. It's a very, very important thing. You should. The native heritage, they should do it around the lacrosse team because it is Canada's national sport. Great call. I agree with you 100%. Let's revamp this thing. Because these guys, they know what they're doing. Come on, get smart.
You'd like lacrosse, Lou.
Yeah,
it's basically like the National Lacrosse League.
It's slow hockey.
Hockey. Yeah, no, it's fast hockey. Hockey on feet with that's fat, like the ball, fast, like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, but they're running, so it's
as
slow.
I say, Lou, as crazy as hockey players are, hockey players' crazier brothers play lacrosse.
Wow.
That's true.
Basically, guys in lacrosse are like, I played hockey, but I got kicked out for fighting too much. You know what I mean? I don't like hockey. It's too wussish. It's not for me. These guys are look at these guys. They're killers. You should see some of the fights, man, these guys have, dude. Dude, just straight bam, 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 bam.